Okay, so we're going to set up here for a little excavation. First thing is to prepare a site to excavate. There's a series of stone alignments around here, and then within those we're going to place a grave. So let's think about where we want to put the grave. I'm thinking it needs to be about 2 meters long. So about there, that's 1 meter. I'm not sure how many rocks are in here. Let's just see, shall we? So we're just starting to get the area marked out. Not going to go down very deep because we've only got a short time to excavate this. So it's just for a demonstration. Whew. And look how fit I am. So we'll just use a few smaller tools here and there. One, two is to there, so go a little bit further. So this big rock is, I can't be bothered getting it out basically. It's a big one, heavy one. We're going to leave it in there, and the bones are going to have to be arranged around that rock, and that'll be a question for the students. Why is that rock in the grave? The simple answer is, in many cases, it's simply for the same reason that I'm leaving it there. The grave diggers not always committed 100% to their ideals, and so they would often adapt the idea of a grave, or what they thought a grave should look like, to the landscape, to the materials they're working with. In this case, that means moving around this big rock. And that'll be the same story for these two rocks at the end. We stopped here because we hit those rocks. We had room to go in that direction. All good. Small tools, time for the small tools. Woohoo, got the trowel. It's a good old-fashioned coal scuttle shovel. Way better than all those little plastic thingies that you buy these days. Get one of these. Now the hole is dug. We'll come back, we'll go away and get some things to stick in the hole and come back, and I'll show you setting up the grave after this. Okay, so we've got two different types of soil, a nice sand here, and then a bit of more humusy material here. Okay, so we're going to start by cleaning this up. We're going to put some of this darker soil in at the bottom, so we're going to pretend that that is an old soil horizon. Okay, that's the base of our grave. Let's put in an old soil horizon. It is very shallow, but there's a reason for that. We've got a very short time to excavate this for the students, so we don't want to make it too onerous to get down to the actual interesting material. Now that's not too bad, and that just gives us something for all the bones and the artifacts to sort of settle down into. Right, time for some bones. Let's start. Start with the head, of course. Now, which way do we want to put this burial around? I think we're going to We'll make it easy, we'll make this the head end because it's a little bit deeper up here. Set them down nicely into the soil. That's good. Now of course, what does every self-respecting burial need? Needs a gorilla skull as part of the grave goods. So let's wedge that into the side here. We're going to say that this is a bit of a disturbed burial. Here's some femurs, and obviously we have to go around the big rock there. What else have we got? Tailbone. That's going to be in here somewhere. Let's just assume that there has been a certain amount of disturbance. Good test for me, which way around of which part of the pelvis is. It goes that way. So that is that side there. So some disarticulation has happened. Now because Anna has nicely linked up all her vertebrae, I'm not going to put any of those in the grave, so we're going to think of a way, the students are going to think of a way of explaining why there are no vertebrae in the grave. And we'll put the jawbone over here, just so we can, that just adds to the story of some disturbance. So maybe we'll just leave a great big hole in the middle here, that's like post holes perhaps. So we have just one humerus, leave the other one out. We're going to have just one tibia down there. And this is the really the horribly bent fibula, so they can try and explain why the fibula is so bent. Radius. Let's put the other tibia in there, so they're going to be able to see that there are two tibia, all out of, fibula, sorry, all out of place. Rain's coming, so I'm going to hurry up with this. One hand, again, kind of out of place, so disturbance has happened. I think I'll move this one over here because I'm going to leave some post holes in the middle here. We're going to say they reburied it up there. Going to give them a couple of stone tools. They'll go in there beside the hip. Let's say that, well, let's put them beside the hip so they're part of the toolkit that he had, or she. No feet. Better put that bone in there. They can try and work out what bone that is. We'll put it up here as well. It's been shifted out of place. That's all. We don't want to put a lot of bones in there. It'll take them too long to dig up. And we want to give them a bit of a mystery to do. So one of the commonest grave goods and sites that I work at is pottery. So in this prehistoric tradition, an important part of the ritual was to smash the pot. So it was dead just like the person, so they could take it into the afterlife, use it in the afterlife. And there we are. And because this person from ancient prehistory, but had some connections with communities perhaps in the Middle East, there is a very, very rare glass bottle in this grave as well. Again, down by the hip, I think. Toolkit. It was also important as part of this mortuary ritual to have a feast of highly sought after cockles, and the shells from that feast are placed in the bottom of the grave. We'll put them just adjacent to that rock. It's a very small feast. Okay, so now we're going to put in the sand layer. So this is the main fill of the grave. Easy to excavate and quite different to the rest of the material around it. Spread it evenly over the surface. We're going to need a few more buckets than this, clearly, but the idea is to have everything that's in the grave sealed as much as possible. You can ask the question where these people in the past got all this sand to fill the grave with. That's a good question. Don't have a good answer to it right now. Maybe I will have by the time the students come along. or they can come up with their own. One of the great things about mock excavations is it doesn't actually matter what you have or what the process of excavating it is. You're not destroying any heritage, but it's a great problem-solving, real-world project for students. Now you might remember we don't have any vertebrae here, and we're missing a few other bits in the middle. So what we're going to do is create a post hole. So we're going to say that people came along later on and dug a post hole in here. So we'll move some of that sand out of there and go down into the sand so it's a bit mixed up down there. We've got a nice post hole shape. We're compressing something that might have happened over hundreds or thousands of years into just a few seconds. We can dig the hole deeper down into the underlying layers here. Dig that soil out. So people came along, dug a hole. They were going to put a post here. They found all this other stuff. They got a bit freaked out about it. So what they did, just as they put some rocks in to cover it up, keep the spirits down, stop them annoying them, saying sorry for disturbing what looks to be the burial of our various ancestors. And so then they covered it back over again as quickly as possible. Final stage now, covered over with the natural soil from the surrounding area. See if we can plant some of these grasses again. If it was going to be here for a bit longer, for a couple of weeks, we could really make it look like it's been never been disturbed. Nice bit of gardening. Little grasses, come on little grasses, back to life. Get a bit of rain later today, it will perk up again. So the question now is, can you spot where the grave was? I think you probably can. Give it a couple of days. I think it's going to rain later today. Get a couple of days of rain, all this little grass perks up again, the soil washes down. I think it might be harder to spot. Let's see how it looks in a few days' time when the students come here to excavate it. Bye.